Hello everyone, just a quick word from your friendly editor/husband. For all of you who listen to So I'm Watching This Show and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android devices. I use the app and love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure you set So I'm Watching the Show as a favorite so you don't miss any new episodes. Again, the app is Podcast Republic, available on your Android device. Thanks!
I didn't realize that this was put into production for CW and then moved to Netflix.
Yeah, because I'm sure he got it as part of his CW deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, JK, this is literal Satan worship. We can't have this on our network.
I don't think that, although that's what you said, is you were like, this is too intense for the CW. It needs to be on Netflix. And then I said something else. Oh, there's only going to be 9 episodes in part 2 because the winter special, The Midwinter's Tale, counts as one of these episodes.
Yeah. I don't love it. I'm not angry, but I don't love it. Because the Midwinter's Tale didn't really do anything.
Yeah, it was just in between. It actually did some stuff with her and Harvey, so it did.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it kind of took care of some of that aftermath.
Yeah.
But basically, I did not know. You told me that it already has been renewed for season 2 and 3.
Well, technically 3 and 4.
Are they counting this as season 2?
They are counting this as season 2.
This is needlessly confusing.
I agree. I totally agree.
I should do an intro. Yeah, I should do an intro, because this is an episode of one of our shows. So.
Yes, it is. We've only been doing this for 18 months solid.
We've been doing the episodic coverage, so I forgot what was placed where. Because I was also thinking this was the part 2 of season 1, so. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no.
Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is why I'm watching this show. On today's episode, we're going to cover season 2 of Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So we watched the first, technically second episode. Oh my god. Ugh.
Just say the first episode.
So we watched the first episode. I didn't write down what it was called.
The Epiphany.
It sounds intriguing. Was it intriguing?
It was intriguing. Very intriguing. I'm just as into it as I was in the fall.
Mm-hmm. It already took me right back there. The music started and I was like, oh my god, it's Halloween of 18. Ugh.
Yeah.
It feels like so long ago, even though it wasn't. I mean, I guess it kind of was.
I mean,
but
like 6 months.
Yeah. So the show picked up, and it is very much still the same show.
Yeah.
And it is also very much still funny and exciting. And this episode was making all 3 of us LOL a little bit.
Oh my god.
The language
honestly, legit praise Satan. It was hilarious.
They're using very intentional language and very provocative wording of things. I mean,
within no less than 5 minutes, Mrs. Wardwell told a boy to swallow that wad in his mouth, and
it was gum.
It was gum, but she said, "Swallow the wad in your mouth," and then Father Blackwood.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and Father Blackwood kept rattling on about the top boy at the academy, and that just. You're asking for trouble.
Yeah, that was the primary plot, was that they need to elect a new top boy. And I don't remember from season 1, were the witches always this, misogynistic? I always thought it would have been the other way around.
I mean, something in me suspects that it's meant to be, and perhaps Father Blackwood has been corrupted by absolute power.
Okay. I mean, I can believe that there are weird, gendered roles and stuff, but there's a role of top boy, which, I mean, I was laughing every single time.
Well, it's like a prefect or a head boy in, a British university or school.
But we also just watched Santa Clarita Diet, and Eric has a way of speaking where he frequently refers to himself as a boy. And, he called himself a woozy boy, and then the last episode he called himself a delicious boy, and so... It was a lot, and I was thinking of Daddy's Boy from
Yep.
Kimmy Schmidt, so it was really making me giggle.
Yes, same. Every single time, and they said it so many times.
They said so many times.
Many times.
And I mean, it has to be intentional. They have to be intentionally sort of provoking us with some of this dialogue.
Of course.
It's part of the fun because whoever that woman was, she called Hilda a wanton, or Zelda a wanton hussy.
Yeah.
And Zelda was very flustered by that, but yeah, so it was a competition to be who could be, the school's next top boy, and Sabrina threw her gauntlet in and wanted to be top person. And the plot was that there were demons coming after her, and she was trying to prevent her from doing this, and she was trying to figure out who summoned them. And the resolution at the end of the episode is that nobody summoned them.
Right.
They summoned themselves.
Potentially the Dark Lord did it himself because she can't ascend because she's a half-breed.
Mm-hmm. But I thought the Dark Lord wanted her. That's what this whole Miss Wardwell thing is, who is now principal.
I'm not 100% on. I'm sure we'll find out more, but as it stands, I'm not 100% on all of the machinations.
Mm-hmm. So what is the deal with Luke? Because we never fully got clarification last season.
Yeah.
And in case you didn't hear our midwinter coverage, we were very confused as to the way Ambrose and Luke's story ended, where they their relationship was very accelerated in a way that we were taken aback by. And I realized in our midwinter coverage that we forgot that Hilda put the love spell in Luke's coffee.
Correct.
So that explains that. At least, how rapidly their relationship picked up steam.
Yeah.
Are you still suspicious of him? You were very suspicious of him initially.
Luke?
Yeah.
Not as it stands right now. I mean, he was kind of a dick to Sabrina, but I don't know that I'm necessarily suspicious.
There were conspicuous shots of him throughout this episode.
Yeah. I'm suspicious of Dorian Gray.
Oh my god.
Played by an actor named Jedediah Goodacre.
Yes!
Yes!
Yeah. I've seen him in stuff. Oh my god,
He was on the last season of the originals, and he's been on a couple episodes of Legacies. That's how I know him.
I've seen him on stuff, because you don't forget that name.
No,
they should have just let him keep his name. That's better than Dorian Gray.
Yeah, you don't forget that name, and you don't forget that hair.
Yeah, he owns a gentleman's club, or he's I don't know if he owns it, but he's the face of.
Yeah.
That employs the biblical figure of Salome. She came out and did a dance. It's kind of her thing. It's what she do. If I know one thing. Yeah, I don't know. Luke is still around. He's still suspicious. Hilda is still the best because
correct.
Sabrina was having a hissy fit and Hilda interrupted, and Sabrina was like, "It's nothing, Hilda, go to bed." And she was like, "I beg your pardon, miss." And she was like, "You go to bed."
It was incredible. Lucy Davis is a gem. I just like her so much. She's so great. And I think she brings something to this Hilda that the show needs, which is a warmth and a kindness. Mm-hmm. And I just love it. She's great.
They also, on 2 occasions, were very sure to remind us that Billy still exists and still sucks.
Oh, yes.
We were kind of hoping, is Billy the gay one, or did the gay one get... I don't remember. There were 4 bullies.
Shit, I don't remember either. But yeah, they're Sabrina and... or I guess Theo's bullies.
They seem to have been pared down to 2 now. There was 4 that now appears to be 2.
Some of them got fucked up in the mines.
Yeah. I don't remember. Regardless, he's still around. Susie has plot.
Yeah.
She is now... Okay, did she start off as Theo, or is Theo a third person?
I think Theo is a new thing.
Okay.
I think
we're trying to do this right.
I'm trying to use my pronouns. I will, for the sake of ease in this conversation, I will say Susie has finally become comfortable deciding to be Theo all the time.
I just didn't know if she started off as Theo and then wanted to be Susie and now has gone back to Theo, or if Theo is a
No, I think she was born a girl.
Oh.
I think physically she's Susie, but now he's Theo.
Oh,
is what I think.
Okay, so we're trying to do this right. What is the gender of the actor? Do we know?
No, a non-binary, I think.
I guess it doesn't matter. I guess that's the whole point of these characters in this conversation is that doesn't matter.
Because
so,
I looked them up last year, although they were not credited in this episode, and I was
they were at the
curious why. No, like on the IMDb.
Oh, I don't know. Because they're not a series regular.
Lachlan Watson.
Okay.
Yeah, identifies as non-binary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, then, okay. I guess my understanding of the character was wrong, and also I realize now is the whole point of characters like this. So
it's helpful.
Yes. So Susie is now Theo, at least. Well, yeah, from here on out. I mean, if Harvey can handle it, I can handle it.
Yeah, Harvey can handle it. And in the like synopsis for the next episode, it says Theo faces a cast of cruel critics.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to be Theo from here on out.
Okay. So Theo now is playing basketball, and Sabrina was helping him, and I don't know if Sabrina's always going to be there. That feels a slight, like...
Yeah, it was giving me some, I get it on the one hand, because it was giving me some, book 6 of Harry Potter, where Hermione realizes that Ron just needs a little confidence, and so she, like, helps him along a little bit, and then he's able to do it on his own. But I'm not sure that was Theo's problem.
And historically, this hasn't worked for Sabrina.
Right, exactly.
So, I don't know. We also got some sparks flying between Roz and Harvey.
And Roz, it looks like Roz had a, what did they call them? The quickening or something?
No.
What was it?
The cunning.
The cunning.
The quickening is one of 4 things. Remember, we discussed this, like...
Did we?
Yeah, we discussed this. I think it was the magicians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, the quickening is a different thing.
Okay. Well, it's also part of childbirth.
Mm-hmm. No, we talked about this.
Okay. The cunning. Okay, so Roz had a cunning that they were like making out at the lockers, and so that'll be curious to see. I'm not against it. I'm curious about it.
I'm not against it.
Well, I mean, even in the old show, Sabrina and Harvey weren't together all the time.
Yeah.
They broke up a few times, so I'm cool with some, like, just, normal teen soap shenanigans where they all end up boning at some point.
And then Sabrina is kind of going full swing with Nick.
Yeah.
Nick Scratch. Ow! There were sound effects in this episode. They were so...
Shink!
Yeah, it was like they would just be having a conversation, and there was like whoopah and cring and like it was really funny. And Will did get a screenshot when Beelzebub appeared behind Sabrina. There was like a bong sound, and the caption, because we watch it with the captions, just said ominous dong.
It was wonderful.
That took Will all the way out.
It did. It really did take him all the way out.
So yeah, also Sabrina may want to be the High Priestess, which, again, Father Blackwell claims has never happened. That women cannot.
Blackwood.
Again, we're going to do this again. Oh my god.
What's the city called in California?
Blackwood. Modesto.
Yes, Modesto.
Modesto. You heard me. So... If you want that to make sense, listen to our Magicians coverage.
That's right. Yeah.
It'll pay off. Yeah, this was a little clunkier, not in a bad way, but this was a little bit clunkier with the feminism in this episode.
Yeah, Sabrina is fully coming for the patriarchy, and while I do love it, I wish it were a scotch more subtle.
Mm-hmm. We're in some season 1 of, not quite, but I was going to say we're in some season 1 of Supergirl stuff right now.
Yeah. But I do love the continued relationship between Sabrina and Agatha. Or not, Prudence. Sabrina and Prudence. That's very interesting.
It feels like the Weird Sisters aren't hard villains this season like they were the first.
And I don't know what game Father Blackwood thinks he's playing by continually putting down Prudence, but that is absolutely going to bite him in the ass at some point. There's no way she's going to let that stand for long. So I'm super excited to see that happen.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, who do you want to be top boy? But I forgot they already picked one, and it's Ambrose is now the new top boy.
Yeah.
And also now goes to this school.
Yeah, I was going to say, pull the Mean Girls quote, he doesn't even go here. Because he doesn't even fucking go here. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm fine with it. Anything to keep to keep Ambrose around more. He's always a delight, but it's going to be interesting. I'm excited about this season. And I guess they did get rid of the baby. I was like, wasn't there supposed to be a baby?
Yeah, because I think they're going to age her up.
Yeah, because they sent her away with the like
to the witch in the woods.
Right. Okay.
Although baby Judas is alive and well.
Well, not for long if Prudence can't figure out how to care for him.
Yeah, being tended to by Prudence. So. Oh, and then Zelda. Well, she doesn't want a ring on it per se, but she wants some form of commitment from
legitimacy. Yeah, Father Blackwood. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I'm excited. I think these handful of episodes are going to be a lot of fun. I love Sabrina's new hair and her new look, and you pointed out she finally did her changing her clothes in front of the mirror.
They did the Sabrina mirror thing from the 90s show in this one. Pretty
good. Mm-hmm. I'm loving it.
Let's watch the next one.
Just like last time. Yeah. All right. We'll be back in a minute.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I can hear the music already. Even though Will hasn't put it in, I can hear it. It's kind of like Magicians where I don't know how to sing it. I'm like, da, 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 da,
it's more atmospheric than it is music.
So, okay, that was a good one.
Yeah.
We are technically 3 episodes into season 2, as we have decided. And I don't really have an idea of what exactly we're doing, what we're building to.
Me neither.
That's not a problem.
No.
Especially because there is some fleshing out, and apparently much needed fleshing out of characters that is still happening.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And I mean, I was hopeful for the show, because, I mean, Riverdale is doing its best. It's trying.
That was generous.
I mean, Riverdale isn't like a wreck, but basically, I had faith that the show could go. But this is definitely affirming to be like, okay, there is still stuff. So I'm not entirely sure what really the plot of this one was.
Yeah, aside from Sabrina and the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I guess I am actually a little bit confused as to what's going on, because it's like we got some shading of Lilith that I think we really needed.
Yeah.
Who is Mrs. Wardwell, which you asked. We did know that. That was revealed in the finale of last season.
Okay.
It was at the very end of the episode. It was like the sting at the end. And she took her face off and had like a weird lizard face that looked... Okay. It wasn't our favorite effect they did.
Oh, yes. Now I remember that.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that show Dinosaurs from the 90s. Or not even. It looked more like the Super Mario Brothers movie from 93. God. And whatever the lizard monsters were. I don't know. I feel like we're covering ground that we already covered. And because I mean, Sabrina already pledged herself to the Dark Lord, and Mrs. Wardwell was tasked by the Dark Lord with securing Sabrina. So I was finding this a little bit interesting because this felt like Mrs. Wardwell was pushing Sabrina away from...
Yeah, so basically when she summoned the Dark Lord at the beginning of the episode, he told her that he wants Sabrina for her job, basically.
Oh, okay.
And so now Mrs. Wardwell is like, fuck you, I'm not losing my spot.
Okay.
Because and that goes into the play that they were doing and why she was so emotional watching it, because he pledged her to be his queen, essentially. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, Sabrina's the one, though.
Mm-hmm.
So GTFO. And so that's why she was discouraging Sabrina from doing what he asked.
Okay. I don't know how I missed that, but I guess I did. I might have been setting up notes or something, but yeah, we had a passion play that was, well, I also think you were onto something. I think that Father Blackwood is doing some of this stuff. I think he is. I think
Father Blackwood is rewriting some of these religious texts a little.
Yeah. Because what specifically was it? I didn't write down. There was something in the episode where I looked at you and I was like, oh, there we go.
Well, the one, Shirley, I guess the one that Zelda's fighting with, the other teacher, she wouldn't keep helping Father Blackwood because he had made so many changes to the Passion Play.
He had like reduced the character of Lilith, which in a way that she didn't agree with. Which...
And Zelda had the same issues, and it was like she wasn't a weak victim that Lucifer had to help. She like managed in the desert by herself for weeks, and he just was like, ho 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 ho.
To my understanding, Lilith is not a Christian biblical figure. She is a mythological figure, and she is a figure in paganism.
Okay.
And I think Wicca, she's certainly a pagan figure, but mythologically, she was Adam's first wife, and she refused to be subservient. So she was cast out, and then, because I think we've said a few times, but there are weird discrepancies amongst biblical texts sometimes, and there's like technically 2 creation stories within the book of Genesis in a weird way, and I can't remember. It's like in one version Eve is like made out of clay, but in another version, like in the next, like you turn a page and she's taken from Adam's rib.
Oh, okay.
And so the mythological explanation was that Lilith was made out of clay, and then Eve, once Lilith was dismissed, Eve was then taken from part of him to make her more agreeable.
Oy.
So, yeah, and I'm not a scholar in this regard, so I could be wrong about a few of these things, but that's my general understanding. And so in a lot of ways, Lilith is sort of regarded as, like, if there were to be a feminine, like, counterpart to the devil, it would be Lilith, that she's sort of regarded as, like, the first witch, or, like, the first, the queen of darkness type of thing.
Cool. I throw my lot in with her. I am Team Lilith all the way.
She's a fascinating literary figure, and I mean, like I said, depending on where you're going, she can be a religious figure. So
yeah,
I've been very curious to see her used. I was bummed when that show, the live action Constantine, was canceled.
Oh yeah,
because they touched on her in like episode 9, but it was sort of like a one and done in a way that I was like, I feel like we're going to come back to that.
Yeah.
And so it is sort of fun to see an exploration of the character in, throughout the show and in Michelle Gomez's capable hands.
Okay, real quick. I know we talked about her in our first episode, but she is unbelievably sexual in this show. It is so wild to me. She's so beautiful. She's like friggin' amazing. She brings everything she has at every turn. I am in love with her. I think she's fabulous.
Well, and that's something that I mentioned it in our previous coverage, but something we have so much fun with the show is how deliberate so much of the like dialogue and the wording is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's very, I was going to go with liberated, and I think that word suits the Passion, play that they were doing, but it's a very, I mean, there's a repression and like a purity in most Christian,
sure.
What's the word I'm looking for? Do you know what I mean?
Allegories?
Yeah, and so it's like it makes sense that like an inverse version of that would be much more
body.
Well, and open, just like because within the Passion play, Lucifer Morningstar is played by Nick Scratch. I don't know why.
You really don't like him. I think he's great. No,
I like him. I definitely like him more than I originally did. I didn't know his last name was Scratch, and I think that's weird. Oh. And I keep having to fight the urge to say Nick St. Clair.
Oh, sure.
So that's where I'm sort of like, Nick Scratch.
This guy's way hotter than Nick St. Clair.
Sure. But he was doing that like the conundrum of like what kind of God would be so withholding and so demanding of his followers and stuff, and would deny them earthly pleasures and yada yada yada. And so it does make sense that then this world we're looking at is very, I still honestly really do have a slight disconnect. I do have a hard time with the Satanism of it all, because all of these witches seem to have a moral compass. It's like they'll say the things, but it's like they're suddenly surprised when the literal devil shows up and asks you to do bad things. And it's very amusing. I can certainly make my peace with it, but there was this whole struggle in this episode as to whether or not Sabrina would steal the gum. And obviously I know that was but a first step, because the Dark Lord says, blatantly that we'll start small and build up to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just suddenly kind of like, it's like there's these moral quandaries, and I'm sort of like, well, and I mean, they've made their case that, like, the way that the witches and the warlocks are justifying it is that it's about freedom. Mm-hmm. It's about freedom from repression.
Well, I also think it's mostly just Sabrina who is continually surprised. And I think it's because she is half mortal. She still thinks some of this stuff is really strange.
Yeah, but Hilda is a good person.
Yeah, but Hilda did what the Dark Lord asked her.
No, I understand that, but it's like, this is the literal devil we're talking about. It's like at any moment.
Well, I mean, but it's imagining, it's if you were to imagine, what if God came to you and told you to do something? It's that he's their God.
Yes, I understand that, but it's like predicated on harm. And I was like, the way that they justify it is by, claiming that it's about freedom from repression. But at the end of the day, he is a monster whispering in their ears to do bad things.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird to me, is what I'm saying.
It's definitely weird. I think to me, there's only a couple people who seem to, like, have issue, and it's Sabrina and Hilda and sometimes Ambrose. But, like, Prudence and the Weird Sisters. I want to know what was in the letter. I want to know what was in the letter, too.
Oh, my God.
But, like, Prudence and the Weird Sisters, they don't, and Zelda, they don't really care about the consequences unless it's going to damage themselves or the people they like specifically. And, I guess, even Nick.
Yeah, I guess in that regard, there are plenty of, like, righteous Christians who are just as awful.
So that's what I have to think of it at where it's like indoctrination. Like, they've all been in it their whole lives, and Sabrina hasn't. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is for me.
No, we mentioned that the Dark Lord, he is approaching Sabrina, trying to get her to do tasks for him, and he had done it for several of the other members as well. And he wanted Ambrose to send a letter to a boy that had a crush on him when they were in school. And the boy never acted on it. It was meant to have been like a secret, but Ambrose knew. Yeah. And so this was after his baptism, after they had grown, or I guess the other boy had grown up, and the Dark Lord made Ambrose send him a letter. And he specified this was after he already had a wife and children. Yeah. And Sabrina asked what was in the letter, and he wouldn't tell her. Yeah. And I was like, it was something that, like, I know. Like, I know that you liked me, or I know that this is in you. And it's just like,
based on how upset Ambrose was, I thought it might be even a little more incendiary than that.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you have a specific, or?
Just, I mean, sort of anything, like threats, like, I'll tell on you.
I don't know that. I think it was enough. I think it was enough to actually just potentially ruin a family.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
And I mean, if you're threatening a repressed person, I don't know. I was so. I mean, that's some great expectation shit. But
oh yeah,
I've never actually seen that, and I want to. I feel like I would love it. Either version, all of them.
I was going to say we can put the Gwyneth Paltrow and Ethan Hawke one on our.
Well, I think that one's pretty terrible. There was another one with Holiday Granger and Helena Bonham Carter that I think it had a positive reception. I don't remember now.
We'll see.
But I think we've talked about this before, because I also said we can do the South Park adaptation, because they did a fairly straightforward adaptation.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course it does pivot in like South Parkian terms, but it is pretty faithful, like it's pretty straightforward, and the South Park audience was furious. And there's like a handful of people that, like, including myself, who think it's the funniest thing.
Who was Mrs. Havisham? Was it Butters?
No, Butters is, or not. It's not like the characters, South Park characters being them.
Oh,
it's like I can't think of it. Is the name Pip? It's like whatever the British student is.
It is Pip, yeah.
Yeah, Pip, and then it's great. It's versions. They created animation, like new characters.
Oh, funny.
So it's like a Mrs. Havisham, because it's something about like the girl, the Gwyneth Paltrow character. What's her name?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Well, anyways, she keeps like snapping little bunnies' necks to prove.
God.
And he's like, but surely you won't kill this 22nd bunny, because he's trying to prove she's good, and she just keeps killing them.
That's
Anyways,
hilarious.
that has nothing to do with Sabrina. Oh my God. Yeah, the letter. I love Ambrose so much, and that was like, I mean, he gets good material, but I feel like we'll come back to that.
Oh, sorry, real quick, her name is Estella, and the one with Gwyneth Paltrow was directed by Alfonso Cuarón. It might be good.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It was in the 90s. I'm pretty sure it has like a 23 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whatever.
But yeah, we just, back to Michelle Gomez, we had these incredible scenes of her watching the Passion Play, and it was, because the way you were phrasing it is almost like she's angry or jealous, and it's like,
Well,
I guess
but there's so much going on in it. It's not even necessarily anger or jealousy, but you can see the, like, that she's remembering the joy of when that happened to her, and she's remembering, like, what a powerful moment it was in her life, and then she's remembering the betrayal that when it didn't happen, and so she's like, it's like a huge, crazy mix of emotions, and Michelle Gomez sells every single second of it. It was incredible.
I'm sorry. And again, I like this stuff. Even this stuff that I'm complaining about, I just still have a slightly hard time with it, but how twisted the show is.
Yeah.
But I can't get over the fact that the Dark Lord, Satan, Lucifer Morningstar, hates onions.
Oh.
That is so weak. That is so lame to me. It's like, what? And we found out that he specifically doesn't like them because they make him cry. And I guess he hasn't cried since he was banished.
I mean,
this is stuff that it's like, and I'm setting myself up for failure because this is some shit I want to explore. And it's like, Sabrina's probably not gonna do that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into the mythos of like God and the devil.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that I've always wanted, and I've threatened 2 separate, projects of my own to explore these realities. But I love it. I find it so interesting. So I don't know, bring back Constantine 2014.
I mean, he's on Legends of Tomorrow now.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
No, I know.
I think we knew Ambrose was bisexual, but we got hard confirmation.
Yeah, because he was flirting it up pretty good with Prudence.
Because she was talking about how he was playing the false god, so he was playing God in the Passion Play.
He called himself polytheistic.
Yeah, she was like, I was wondering if I could help you convert, and he was like, I've always been a polytheist. Yeah. So that was pretty great. It is Prudence, after all. She has that. She has that quality.
Sure, yeah.
And then just some more of the stuff with Theo. I guess the Dark Lord was testing Sabrina using her friends, and the Dark Lord was even able to test her friends a little bit in a way that made Sabrina uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was disgusting that they kept showing it, but I did kind of love that Billy fell and compound fractured his tibia.
Well, my first note that I wrote, I'm fixated on Billy, and I guess I think he's cute. I guess that's my issue. I don't know why, but it is giving me that not syndrome, but it's like they are making sure we know this is a character.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like we're either going to build to something or we need to have a red shirt around.
Well, they're making sure we know he's a character, and they're making sure to shade him a little, like where the teacher was like, yes,
bullying
Billy.
him out of nowhere. And I was like,
I wonder how he got this way.
Yeah. I was like, I'm starting to understand. And that's the other thing, is it's like, as much of a jock and like dunderhead as Theo is, he seems...
Billy?
Yes, sorry. I said Theo. As Billy is... Like, he's not always glowering at people. He seems kind of doofy in a handful of... I don't know. I feel like we're going to get something there.
Well, he's either got to go, like, full hard villain, or we need to start a redemption arc.
And we're in the middle in this weird way, where I'm like, you're not doing either plot. So.
Right, not yet. But yeah, one of those.
But
there's
enough evidence for both, so... Also... I cannot remember if we ever said this. It has annoyed me from the beginning, but I don't see how Brina is any easier to say than Sabrina.
No, I also hate it. I also definitely hate it.
I have a harder time saying Brina than Sabrina.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't like it. I guess now that Harvey has washed his hands, so to speak, we won't get that anymore.
Well, they went in circles. They went in circles with that scene.
Yeah, they did.
she was like, yes, and he was like, no, and then he was like, yes, and she was like, no, and then she was like, never, and he was like, one day, and they just kept, it was very rabbit season, duck season, and like a way that I was.
Oh my god, that's the best comparison. Oh my god.
Because I heard you kind of being like, what? So we'll see. I'm fine. I like Sabrina and Harvey. I think I like Harvey. I would have never guessed that, like, brown-haired Ross Lynch was gonna, like, do it for me. But at this point, the shortest book ever written is the list of things that don't do it for me, so.
Yeah, same.
It's a thing that exists, therefore I'm into it.
The last thing I want to say is that I don't believe for 1 minute that any of these high school boys spent all of their allowance on pads and tampons just to bully Theo.
It's not cheap, is it?
It's not cheap. It's not cheap at all, and you have to pay tax on it.
Ugh, that's so stupid. I forgot about that.
Just like tons of pads and tampons in
Men are the worst.
in his locker, and it just was like, really? That's what you're going with? Just such a waste of money. Ridiculous.
I mean, the girls are that bad too. They did it to Carrie, so.
Well, they threw a couple at her. They didn't go out and buy
those were free in the school locker room.
Yeah. They didn't go out and buy a pallet full to taunt their classmate.
So
I don't know.
Okay, well we'll check in.
All right.
After the next. We're gonna go to bed and then we'll check in tomorrow.
Make sure you won't know.
Huh?
But they won't know it's tomorrow.
Well, I was gonna make a joke, so I had to say that because I was gonna say to make sure to eat your night onion.
Oh, solid.
Oh, that's why Anne texted me. Oh my god, when we were recording, she did our earlier episode, she texted me something about being afraid of the Dark Lord, and I just saw it popped up on my screen. I was like, this is a really cryptic text, Anne. I don't know why you're texting me about the Dark Lord whispering to you in your sleep. And I just sort of was like, I can't unpack that right now. I'll have to check in with her later. And it's because she's watching Sabrina. Okay.
I love it so much. Shit, that's hilarious. Well, tell Anne to eat her night onion then.
Anne. I get this cryptic text message from my friend about the Dark Lord. I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. Sorry, Anne.
It's hilarious. I hope that Anne's okay, and I hope that she ate her night onion so the Dark Lord doesn't speak to her tonight.
She's one of the ones that likes onions, so she'll be fine.
She'll be fine. It'll
be you and it'll be me and Anne because you only tolerate raw onion.
Yeah, I would certainly not eat one like an apple.
Me, Anne, and we'll manage. We're the strong.
All
Tim
right,
is dead.
It's
just DOA.
And Tim's dead. He's friggin' dead.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
That was a really good episode.
I agree. Okay, this episode 3 was called Lupercalia, and it was like Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Which you did call that in the fall. You were like, I wonder if they'll do like a Valentine's Day episode.
Well, it was after
they definitely did.
Yeah, it was after the Christmas special, and I don't know if we knew it was coming back at that point. I basically said something about they should or they could do a Valentine's Day episode, that would be really good.
Yeah.
Because it felt witchy.
And in fact, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool. It was very funny. It was, I want to say that maypole scene was like the most visually arresting shot they've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
That was very, very cool. I liked that a lot. Yeah, I just loved it.
You had a comment where, because the maypole was so cool. I wish we did more shit like this. I don't know.
In the real world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish there was slightly more pomp and circumstance, and I guess if we were wealthy, there would be.
Well, sure. I mean, if we were wealthy, we'd do it ourselves.
Well, yeah, but that was really cool, and Dorcas looked so good in her white dress.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was in black and red. But okay, so it was Lupercalia, and it's like Valentine's Day. It's Roman. It goes back to the cave or something that Romulus and Remus were reared in. but it's like a crazy Valentine's Day festival, and it's broken up into 3 categories. And so you said a thing when they were preparing for the hunt where the boys were dressed up like wolves and the girls were dressed up like Red Riding Hood, and you were just like, they're basically just a bunch of nerds. Like,
they're just a bunch of like LARPers out in the woods doing like satanic LARP. Which is great, but it's like they, all of season 1, it was very, I don't know if they took it, if they like decided to be sillier in the second half of season 1 or season 2, whatever we're calling it, but it doesn't seem as dark as it was. It seems a lot more frivolous and silly, and I like it, but it has undercut some stuff because all of the people at the academy were kind of, I guess I was a little more wary of them. And then that scene, I was like, oh no, it's literally just a bunch of 16-year-old nerds.
I mean, there's magic behind it.
Well, sure, but it's not like, I don't know. It put a different taste in my mouth in a good way, but it's different now.
I mean, I definitely think the darkness is still there, but a lot happened in this episode. I didn't really write notes down because I was just enjoying it, and so I'm trying to remember. It was also long, which is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But I was like, this episode went on for a while.
It did, yeah. So
Ambrose, that was weird to me that, Luke's out of town, so he's just with Prudence now.
Yeah.
I'm for it. We've talked about it. We've talked about his polytheism, so.
Mm-hmm.
So that was noteworthy, and he is doing his job as top boy. It was cool. This episode, I mean, the show in general, honestly, but this episode in particular was so pro-sex in such a weird and refreshing way.
It was honestly wonderful.
Because we were about 5 minutes in, and I just looked at you and was like, are you gonna be okay?
No, it was perfect. I'm not okay. It was wonderful in every way. I am also fully aboard the Sabrina and Nick Scratch train.
You are? Because
I'm 100% am.
I am, because both of us were suspicious of him through this episode.
Not for the whole thing. There were like 2 moments where I was like, he's going a little extra right now. So but I just think it's so cute. I'm super into it because he's really cute and I think they're really cute together, but I do still have a little bit of suspicion.
He's throwing the word love around in a way where I'm like, I mean, they've known each other, but it was
early. It was early.
I don't know. I predicted that we were going to get werewolves in this episode. And we did, but the weirdest part about it was it wasn't the way that I thought we were going to get it.
Yeah.
Because Hilda is still having her flirtation with Dr. Cerberus, and he put an abrupt end to it this episode. And so Zelda, who is the most pro-sex of all of them, the way she was talking to Sabrina in the beginning was hilarious.
It was great.
So Zelda gussied Hilda up, to go seduce Dr. Cerberus, and it turns out that he is... We'll go with infected?
Yeah, he has an incubus, basically.
Yeah. But I thought it was a werewolf. I thought he was turning into the werewolf, and that I think I would have preferred.
I maybe would have too. I like how it's gone, but
because in the next scene we get a werewolf, but it's not him. It is, and it felt very strange to me because they established the familiars. So I mean, they're there, but I guess Nick's familiar is a werewolf by the name of Amalia.
Yeah.
And so is she always a wolf?
I don't know. She was wearing a dress.
Uh-huh.
But she's dead now, so it doesn't really matter.
That felt like it needed more explanation.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I don't know that we're going to get it.
I don't think so either.
Because then it was echoing the what was it called? Lupercalia? Or
Lupercalia.
Lupercalia. It was echoing that because of the Romulus and Remus being reared by the she-wolf. And so I guess Nick's parents died when he was young, and she was what was left. So she was like a mother figure. And that's where I wanted a bit more of an explanation. But apparently it's not common, but it's not uncommon. Yeah. And Mrs. Wardwell pretty much was like, oh, this can happen, and werewolves are very territorial. And so Amalia was like objecting to his having other relationships.
Right.
And so Mrs. Wardwell's like, you're going to have to put that bitch down. So, and then he pretended to, and it didn't stick. And then Sabrina killed Amalia.
Yeah, on the one hand, I mean, go Sabrina. On the other hand, I do feel like that's going to put some tension in your nascent relationship.
Yeah, but he was acting weird about... Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I really did. I sound like I didn't, but it just, like... This is an incredibly avant-garde show.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I have a hard time grasping onto it. I'm like, did I fully get that? And in a similar fashion, I just, for clarity, because I do not remember where we left with our last recording, but I am fully on board and understand Theo's story now.
Right.
You and I had a discussion and off air, and I realized I had a fundamental misunderstanding as to what was happening with the character from the word go.
Yeah.
And so now I completely am there. I get it. And it actually riddled a few things out from season 1 that I was like, that didn't make sense to me. And it was because I wasn't understanding what exactly was happening.
Right.
So Theo had the conversation with his dad, and his dad is... We'll go with, reluctantly on board.
I mean, he seemed a little confused, and then it's sort of that moment where you have to be like, this isn't the child I was expecting anymore.
Yeah.
And then you just, so it seems like he's going to be okay with it.
The actions are there. The support isn't fully yet.
Right. But I mean, I feel like that takes time.
I am, as a gay myself, I am sympathetic to the plight of the parents. We've talked about a show that did a very interesting job exploring it, was Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
And it is a process, and I know people on the internet like to demand absolute perfection and
immediately
and idealism, and that's not realistic. And I think to a way that would do a disservice.
Yeah, especially from like a farmer in a small town.
Mm-hmm. And so it appears that this is, in my opinion, to my understanding, a healthy and respectful exploration of the subject matter.
Yeah.
So Theo got a haircut and wore a tux to the Valentine's dance.
Sweetheart's dance.
We did not lose Billy. I predicted hard that we were about to lose Billy.
Yeah.
As we've been chronicling the the character arc of Billy this season.
It does seem to be arcing in a way.
He appears to have come around in a very pleasant way. I do not think that we're getting anything romantic. Is Billy the gay one?
I can't remember.
One of them was gay, and I don't remember. We went from 4 bullies to 2, and I just don't remember. It was...
Yeah, I don't remember which one of them either.
I remember the episode, because Hilda read him for filth. But
yeah, it was awesome.
I'm just... I'm not saying it's certain, but I'm saying that I think there could be something with Billy and Theo, that they might be going in that direction.
I mean, I think they could at least be friends.
Mm-hmm. Or more is what I'm saying.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying at the very least, they're moving towards friends. If anything else happens, I would consider that icing on the cake.
So, but he basically said that it was funny, but Theo was like, why are you being so nice to me? And he was like, well, I had time to think. The doctor, said I was lucky I didn't break my neck. And I'm also tired of bad things happening to me, which is like self-serving, like selfish, but also, I mean...
Well, it's like it's nice and self-reflective because he clearly was like, my karma's not doing great. I'm going to try to fix it.
And, I had a bully in high school where I had a near identical interaction, at about that time where he suddenly, he came up to me. It was after we graduated, but he was just like, I don't know why I did this and I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? So it was nice. Mrs. Wardwell's fiance is back in town.
Yeah. I was fully dying for most of this episode. It was so hilarious at every turn, but her confusion and like distaste for what was happening was my favorite part. Michelle Gomez is absolutely the MVP of this show at every turn.
Yeah, that secretary that we liked in season 1 that kind of disappeared, she's back. The one that we thought might be an angel.
Mm-hmm.
She was in this episode, and she was like, I have a visitor for you. And Miss Wardwell was like, a what? And he kind of comes in and just unleashes on her.
And it's, if anybody's a fan of Buffy, it's or Angel, it's Alexis Denisoff who played Wesley, the second Watcher.
Mm-hmm. The cackle I let out when he said his name was Adam.
Uh-huh.
Because it's just history repeating.
Well, she was very put out by that being his name as well.
Mm-hmm. She has a bad track record with Adams, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't?
But she was going to dispose of him pretty quickly, and then she's decided that maybe she'll keep him around for a little bit. He's proving useful in unexpected ways.
Like giving her a foot rub.
And worshiping her like the goddess she is. He brought her a fetish from, he said, it wasn't Somalia.
Oh, no, but it was somewhere in the region.
Fetish is like a voodoo doll. If anybody watched season 2 of Penny Dreadful, they'll be very familiar with them.
Oh, yeah. God, that show's so good.
It's coming back?
Yeah, kind of.
And so we don't know what it's doing yet, but methinks it will play a part in some capacity coming up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Just Roz and Harvey.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, their courtship is continuing. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I like it. And then she, I guess, went full blind at the end?
What happened with that? I was going to ask you, because I thought Sabrina had fixed it or something.
I don't think she can fix it.
Yeah, but I thought something, I remember that story ending on a more pleasant note. I thought she wasn't still going blind.
Oh. I don't know.
Didn't Sabrina do something?
Maybe she went fully blind because Sabrina killed the wolf?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I imagine we'll pick up with it in the next episode. So
yeah, sure. I guess we will probably find out momentarily.
Actually, Faustus proposed to Zelda.
With 2 turtle dove hearts.
Well, we also got to reveal that she doesn't actually love him. She just wants to use him.
She wants a worthy opponent in marriage.
Okay.
That was hilarious to me.
Well, and she said something about restoring the Spellman name.
Yeah.
So, which I don't know that he's the way to do that.
Well, if she can, overthrow him and take his place.
Oh, okay.
Then he is.
I mean, we kind of blew over how sex positive it was, but that's also...
I mean, I think it does need, a flashlight pointed at it, because so many shows aren't sex positive, and... I like that all the Archie verse is very sex positive because it's definitely for teenagers.
Well, yeah, it was really amazing to see because it also, you mentioned when we were talking about Game of Thrones the other day that the entire show was positioned from such a point of the male gaze.
Yeah.
And this is the opposite. This is from such a point of the female gaze. And there was such an emphasis on whatever she wanted that they would do whatever she wanted and whatever she was comfortable with. And not just she specifically Sabrina, but all of the women.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's that was just such a thing that for, in a general sense, for men, it's about experiencing the act of sex. And in a general sense, for women, it's about feeling comfortable with it. And so it's the difference between yes and no can be as simple as just given the choice, given the option. No,
100%. And I also just did really like that moment where she goes to see Roz before she goes on the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that a lot, that she had a moment with her best friend where she was like, I'm not sure if I want to, I'm not sure if I'm ready, but I really like him and maybe I will. And who knew Roz had lost her virginity at Bible camp?
Mm-hmm. and even, I mean, this thing with Roz and Harvey, they were getting, hot and heavy, and she was like, I want to stop. I thought I came over to see your drawings. And he was just like, oh, okay. So, I feel like culturally, that's where we should be, and the way to get there is by making it the norm, by allowing women to be the gatekeepers, you know.
100%, yeah.
And, you know, I do remember the taboo around sex when I was a teenager.
Oh,
and
same.
I just really sort of like that it was given the respect that it deserves, but also, I mean, they were talking about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they were having...
It deserves respect, like you said, but it's also still just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it should just be fun sometimes. And as long as you take your berries of phylaxis, it's fine.
I was trying to remember that, and I was trying to remember the other word, and it was fecund.
Yeah, fecund, yeah. I think berries of phylaxis is hilarious wordplay, so...
So, do you think that covers?
Yeah, I think that's good. And if we find out about Roz's blindness, we'll be back in just a minute.
Oh, yeah, no, no, fuck Nick. I think he's suspicious, because we never found out what happened with Dorcas. So, yeah, I'm not buying it.
We'll
remember,
see.
Dorcas, like, jumped him before?
Yeah, I remember.
So.
I'm on board for the moment.
Well, we'll see.
I withhold the choice to change my mind later. But for right now, I like it.
Okay.
All right. Back in a minute.
Okay, this was a weird episode.
Yes, it was.
I didn't take any notes, and I feel like of all the episodes to have, this is the one I should have.
I mean, I think, if I'm being honest, this would... Okay, so it is episode 4, Dr. Cerberus' House of Horror. I think this is the type of episode that is going... Like, nothing happened in the episode. I think it's going to lead to things happening later.
That's what I was going to ask, is if we thought... I was wondering if this was just character informing, or if these were, in fact, potential... Like...
I think both.
Okay.
I think this was a huge character-defining episode, which was great. Lots of, like, you know, information. That was really nice to get. But I do think, even though we find out at the end that it was Mrs. Wardwell, I do think these are all things that could come to pass. Mm-hmm. If they made the wrong decisions.
Or aspects of these things.
Yeah.
Well, they finally did a thing which I said, in case you didn't listen to our Midwinter's Tale coverage, I said that I thought that Sabrina was the type of caliber of show that should start bringing in some, like, actual guest stars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that, I can't remember her name, but the witch in the Midwinter's Tale, I was like, there's no reason why that's not Daryl Hannah. Like, right. And so they did bring in Veronica Cartwright to be this, like, traveling tarot card reader.
Yeah.
And as you said, the reveal, because I did notice that Mrs. Wardwell was conspicuously absent, but I was like, I guess it's not unheard of for people to, like, characters to sit out an episode. And then it was her at the end. And I was like, should have seen that coming. But she basically read all of our characters' cards. Mm-hmm. Like you said, plot-wise, a ton didn't happen, but I guess we'll try and go through it all. Sabrina's was fairly straightforward, and I liked the metaphor of the magic for the relationship. Like, and by magic, I mean magician, like performance art. That, you know, things only work if you have a certain amount of trust in what you're doing. I mean, a trust of the beautiful assistant in the magician, trust of the audience in the performance piece, that it is, you know, simultaneously real and not real. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I thought, you're right, it was, like, probably the most straightforward one, but I liked it a lot.
Well, we didn't get a ton of resolution from the previous episode there, because I said I was wondering what happened with Dorcas and Nick, and it appears maybe or not, it doesn't really matter. He was dating the Weird Sisters, and I do still really enjoy the Weird Sisters, and I like that they sort of come as a pair, or as a trio, rather. It's like, yeah, you're dating all of them or none of them. I think I prefer them... They're striking a nice balance. I was going to say, I think I prefer them less antagonistic towards Sabrina.
Yeah, they are... sort of flitting back and forth, and again having this episode be a series of, you know, visions of what could be, softens that a little, but I am ready for them to be mostly not antagonistic.
Mm-hmm. And certainly not specifically of Sabrina. You know, they're still kind of in a Cheryl Blossom season 1 place. Yeah. And, you know, I'm fine with them being the bitches, but yeah. And Sabrina's fortune or vision or whatever was that they were going to put a spell on her and she was just going to float into space and freeze to death. and like, Sabrina herself was like, that's it, I die in outer space. Like,
well, it's like it was so interesting too because I wondered why Sabrina wasn't doing something to help herself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very strange. I
had full forgotten that it was a
vision, yeah,
a fortune. So when we came back to it, I was like, oh right. I thought it was happening for a hard minute,
yeah.
And then we had Theo's vision, and it was I mean, I guess it just showed the lengths he's willing to go to.
Yeah.
To complete this transformation.
Mm-hmm.
I was very curious what they were doing and how they were going to do it. Because I was like, this is very sensitive territory to be walking. And I would have felt odd if when he woke up as the quote-unquote boy, if it was just a different actor. I was sort of like, how are we going to do this? And they found a way. I mean, they did it. I guess it was handled well. I'm not entirely sure. But Theo, don't steal magic from witches. That's just all around a bad idea.
Yes, 100%.
Just ask.
I feel like that's not a lesson you should have to learn in the year 2019.
Also, that bitch Dorothea is back. What is her deal?
I don't know. At first, I thought she was benevolent, but the more we see her pop up and say things to Theo, the more I'm like,
yeah,
I don't think so.
I found Roz's story alarming.
In what way?
Her dad.
Oh, yeah.
What the crap was that?
I have no idea.
It was weird 3 ways over.
Yeah.
Had we met her dad? Kind of.
I think yes. I didn't remember his intense religiousness.
Yeah, I didn't remember that he was a preacher. I also didn't remember that he was, abusive, of his power, and kind of, I guess I'll use the word zealot. That was all very strange. Is that
part that we know is true, or is that part that was just in the vision?
She made a point to, apologize for her dad's behavior, so maybe it was a warning, but her vision was that her father took money, demanded money from the parishioners of the church and then paid another man to take his daughter's eyes.
Yeah.
It was weird, twisted. And I just was sort of like, yikes, Roz. I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we had Harvey's was weird too. I mean, it was cool and kind of exciting to watch, but it was just very strange to introduce this character through a vision and I don't know.
Well, and again, just a potential character, or is that guy at RISD right now with a demon in his closet?
Yeah, because in that regard, I'm like, Harvey, try to help this guy.
Yeah,
he got accepted into a Rhode Island art school.
It's RISD. They're calling it something different, but it's the Rhode Island School of Design.
Okay.
He was like, I got into a wink art school in Rhode Island, wink. And I was like, we all know what it's called.
Oh God, they said something else and now I can't. The doctors, it was Physicians Without Boundaries.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
You got a good chuckle out of that.
That was good.
But he went and his roommate in this art school was being tormented by a portal to hell. And he was painting it, trying to tether the demons.
Yeah.
And then he killed himself. And so Harvey found him hanged in the room. And then Harvey opened the portal and then seemingly woke up. And the moral of his story was that he didn't need to leave home to pursue his career.
Well, she said, you'll suffer for your art regardless. You don't have to leave to do it. And I was like, that's not helpful or nice.
I like Harvey.
I like Harvey.
I would have never guessed that I would be so, like, into Harvey the way that I am.
Yeah.
But he's sweet and dumb. Because what did he say when he sat down at the table? He was just sort of like, "Hi, I'm Harvey. Read my." I don't remember, but
and then she just put down the fool card.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Looks like me." At least he's a little self-aware about it.
And then what was Zelda's?
She decided she couldn't marry Father Blackwood without telling him about
Right.
baby Letitia.
Right.
And so she goes to the woods and she finds Desmelda, but she has eaten baby Letitia to gain her youth. And then she wants to be, like, introduced back into witch society, so she invites her to the wedding, where then she's, like, basically Father Blackwood is fornicating with his reincarnated daughter, kind of.
Yeah. That was a lot. It was a lot. I love it. Keep coming, but the show still manages to, like...
Yeah, because then Zelda basically was like, well, I can't tell him what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel weird if the plot just disappeared. I would sort of be like, why did we... I guess we only spent 2 episodes dealing with it, so...
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it'll come back up, but, yeah.
Is Ambrose the last one?
Yes.
I think
because she didn't do Hilda.
Mm-hmm. And, like, she didn't do Nick. Okay, yeah. So Ambrose was the last one, and his was weird, too. It was that he was trying to, like, get into, what did they call it? It was, like, a higher order of...
Yeah, like the Order of Judas or something like that.
And in order to do that, he had to kill the Spellman women, because they're, like, holding him back with their womanly ways. Father
Blackwood is, like, itching for a fall.
Yeah, it's a lot. It ended very strangely with Father Blackwood telling Ambrose that Luke died on his mission. And I would honestly say I don't believe that if I thought Luke was a more important character.
Yeah.
But it feels weird, it feels wrong to me, because it's like, I know he wasn't a pivotal or important part of the show, and obviously I just think he's cute, so I don't want to stop seeing him on my screen.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's strange to take a character, you know, an established character that we have, who's in an established relationship with a character that we love, not have him in 2 episodes, and then at the end of the second episode be like, oh, by the way, he died?
Yeah, I think because we didn't see him die, he maybe didn't.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now. And I honestly, I was not kidding about thinking that Father Blackwood is up for a fall here, because he's playing a little fast and loose with some of this shit, and I think he's trying to win Ambrose over to his side so that he can have more power over the Spellmans, because we've heard like 3 or 4 times now, Sabrina is important. She is meant to be something, and I think he knows that, and I think he's threatened by it, and so if he can subjugate their power, then they won't be as big of a threat, and I think he's trying to, like, woo Ambrose to his side to help him do that.
Okay.
That's my opinion, but I think Luke is somewhere.
So you think he's in the basement of Dorian Gray's?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, not that specifically, but I think he's somewhere.
I would prefer that.
Yeah,
but...
same. We didn't see him die, and unless the next episode is like his funeral with a body, but even still, it's magic and it's the devil and it's all kinds of stuff. He could be dead and still come back.
Mm-hmm. That is very, very, very true. So
we'll see.
I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else really? No,
that was pretty much it. It was just like a series of
unfortunate events.
Cool
that's
vignettes.
Really funny.
Yeah, but a series of unfortunate events too. Yeah.
That was so funny. I'm sorry. We're in a new setup, and so I'm in my room, and my TV is on, and I was watching Netflix earlier, and so it went into the Netflix screensaver. So I was literally looking at the series of unfortunate events poster floating across my TV as that was happening. Sorry.
That's good.
Okay, we're done.
All right, we'll be back after episode 5. Bye.
Things are really picking up steam.
Yes.
This was a contained episode. It was all with, what is the school called?
The Academy of Unseen Arts.
There you go. I should know that by now. But we were dealing entirely with that and those characters. What did happen? I guess I don't know where to start.
Well, Zelda and Father Blackwood got married.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody killed the unholy pope.
Mm-hmm.
The anti-pope, I guess. Everybody thinks it was Ambrose, but we know that Leviathan was inside Ambrose and potentially pulling strings.
His mouth's familiar.
Yes.
I feel like, that not so much that it was a waste, but it felt like something for him to get Leviathan at the end of last season and then to just be done.
But if it was specifically given to him by Father Blackwood in order to do something like this to start undermining the influence of the Spellmans at the school, it makes sense.
Okay. I mean, that's the current theory that they have. Basically, Ambrose was tasked with guarding the Dark Pope, and him and several of the Judas boys.
who seem just terrible. As the name would suggest, but not like the fun kind of terrible that like Nick is.
Yeah, because there's now Hail Satan and Hail Judas happening, and you were like, that's alarming.
It's a lot. It's also very, the current climate. Just a bunch of white dudes saying chants and stuff.
Uh-huh. And so Ambrose was feeling strange, and then when he, came to, I guess, Dorcas, oh god, there was just so much.
There was a lot, yeah.
So... yeah, you got right to the end. So had Zelda never... I don't remember. Had she never seen the Dark Lord before? He had never visited her.
I don't think so.
Because when he visited Sabrina, both Hilda and Ambrose said that he had visited them, but he had never visited Zelda.
Yeah.
And so he finally was coming to her on her wedding night, which is his... right to do so, to claim his bride.
Sort of like satanic prima nocta, I guess.
Yeah. And it was interrupted by this whole kerfuffle because they heard Dorcas screaming and he disappeared. And it's just so... I even still am having such issues with it.
Yeah.
Because it's like... And I can even get into this whole like the devil. Let's play like sexy games and stuff. But he is it's like a beast, and it's gross. It's not even like Beauty and the Beast, where it was like, I could be a furry. Like,
no, he's like a goat man with talons.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I'm mostly just like still going through like recanting this because I think it's funny, because it's the kind of thing that you just have to accept in order for the show to work.
Yeah.
But I still think on a fundamental level, none of this actually makes any sense.
No, I get it. I get what you mean by that, for sure. Because it's weird. The way that they still are like human people, sort of, but they're subscribing to this very anti thing. It's funny, the language they choose.
There's like sexy devils. I mean, even like Tim Curry in Legend, or like Chernabog, or in The Simpsons when Ned Flanders is the devil, and he even has like cloven hooves, but he's got like a 6-pack. You know what I mean? And it's funny. It's a lot. Zelda's being awful, although that's kind of her resting state.
Yeah, I'm curious how much she's been sort of brainwashed a little.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rest of them can all see that this is like a terrible idea. And it's clear that it's clear to us, I guess, that Father Blackwood is trying to pull one over.
Yeah, but I think she's also still trying to use him. And
yeah, that's true.
Like I said, I mean, that is just sort of kind of her resting state. So it, like, on one hand, I felt bad for her that this opportunity with the Dark Lord was taken from her. Yeah. But on the other hand, he showed up.
Yeah.
So anyways, where that all started was that, they discovered the Judas boys standing over the Dark Pope's body, and they were holding weapons. And Faustus, Mr.
Father Blackwood.
Blackwood. God damn it. Blackwood came in and just started slicing throats and stuff with his nails. I can't remember if I talked about him in the first season, but I love his nails.
Yeah. They are.
I love his like long pointy nails.
They're well done.
We did get to see him without a shirt in this episode, and he is covered in very cool tattoos.
Well, is that the first time? I feel like I remember seeing that once before.
I'd never seen it before.
Oh. It didn't,
At least, yeah, I didn't take note of it.
It didn't strike me as news for some reason, but maybe it was.
And the Weird Sisters also had a dream that I don't remember what they said. It was something about a coffin.
Yeah. Basically, it was like the Spellmans are going to be the downfall of the Blackwood family.
Mm-hmm. So, also several other things happened. Oh, fucking Shirley. I wasn't going to bring her up because I just don't care. But she's, like, still around. It's Shirley Jackson, right?
Yeah.
She's anti-Zelda because... Why?
She was going steady with Edward, and then he dumped her for Diana, for Sabrina's mother. Mm-hmm. And then she thought when they died that she'd be like rid of them or whatever, but then Zelda started teaching at the school and she just like hates her. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to sabotage everything.
Yeah, that was great. I wondered if we'd ever see Constance again, and I enjoyed it actually because she was a sacrificable character. We didn't need her, but it did feel a little bit like, oh. And actually, this was a nice swan song. Constance's ghost was haunting Zelda, and we found out that Shirley basically stirred her grave and got her up and fussy. And it was a really neat scene. I love when they're just doing magic, like it's just part of their everyday life. And because I forgot what was happening with Sabrina. She was doing something at the time, or wasn't she with Nick? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hilda came in and was like, we need to do this spell. And Sabrina, it's like she just had chores to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just love the way that like they were performing the ritual, and just the way that Hilda was talking to Constance was so great, because Hilda's such a wonderful maternal figure.
Hilda is the best. Hilda is my favorite. Lucy Davis is my favorite. It's a toss-up every episode between Hilda and Mrs. Wardwell. Because Lucy Davis and Michelle Gomez are, like, next level amazing in this show every single moment that they're on the screen.
Just the care and the tenderness that she brought to that scene with this character that wasn't really necessary, but I just appreciated it.
Oh, yeah.
And the implication is that she, like, sent Constance off to, like, finally a peaceful rest, a peaceful slumber, and all the while Sabrina was blowing out candles while this was happening. It was really cool. I liked it. And then Hilda rather, invited Shirley over so that they could, like, air their grievances, and she found out, that's where we found out what Shirley's issues were, and then she poisoned her with almond cyanide cookies.
Yep.
Do you think she buried her?
I think she buried her in the Kane plot, yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that's why she was like, oh, that's gonna bruise.
Yeah.
So, I like that. I like that that's a warning.
Yeah, for sure.
I presume we're not done with it, but we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Because also, I mean, a character like that is a character they could bring in that could have a redemption, if this is really like the women overthrowing the patriarchy.
Which it fucking needs to be.
Yeah,
That new Satanic Testament, garbage. Garbage. 100%. And then at the end, when Father Blackwood was like, Zelda, you forget yourself, a wife walks behind the husband, I wanted to gouge his eyes out. He is garbage.
So yeah, Ambrose is on the run now. Well, no, he's in, God, yeah, the shit happened. He's in jail now.
Yeah.
But Nick went to the bottom of the ocean and found Edward's manifesto to give to the Dark Pope. And so Sabrina presented it to the Dark Pope with Father Blackwood's manifesto as well. And he was going to consider both of them. And then that's when he was murdered.
Yep. And
Ambrose was on the run, and Dorian Gray hid him. Which, I mean, that's noteworthy. I predicted Dorian Gray would be hiding Luke.
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced he's dead, but I will accept it, because, like you mentioned, they didn't give us a funeral, but they have sort of been like, they have acknowledged it. Like, they've talked about him like he's dead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just like hanging suspiciously in the air.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always that thing. I never believe when we don't see the body. So I'm still suspicious, but I do like that Dorian seems to be sticking around. I like that actor despite the ridiculousness of his name.
Oh, that's not the entire reason why you like him? Okay, interesting.
It's
Weird
not,
flex.
no.
Yeah, so, and he is, I think we had questioned when last we talked about him, but he is Dorian Gray.
Yeah, like
Dorian
the actual one from literature.
He can hide in his portrait, and it's apparently hellish.
Yeah.
Yes, he was helping Ambrose, and then, so Sabrina impersonated her parents in an attempt to get Faustus to confess, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
He called her out immediately, and then Ambrose showed up and was like, I think he literally showed up and said, "Die, Faustus!"
Yeah, he really did. It was funny.
It was very funny, but he was like, it was like Nightcrawler. He like bamfed in there with like a knife.
He really did.
And Prudence was like, "Not on my watch."
Yeah.
And so he's in jail now, and I don't know. I'm sad that we're not going to keep watching it tonight. I mean, we're going to keep watching, but
yeah, we're going to keep watching, but not today. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Sabrina and Hilda seem like they're on the same page, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess now Zelda and Father Blackwood are on the way to their honeymoon in Rome. Yeah, after they deposit the anti-pope in the necropolis below the Vatican. It's hilarious.
I'm missing Salem. We haven't really had a lot of Salem.
Not too much, yeah.
I mean, I know cats are difficult to work with, but
yeah. He's such a handsome little kitty, though.
He is very pretty. The mortals sat this one out, and that's fine.
Yeah,
we agree. Tolerate them.
Yeah.
And I guess Mary, well, the Dark One, Mary, Mrs. Wardwell, the body she's in's name was Mary.
Yeah.
The Dark Lord showed up and basically told her that she had to get rid of Adam, but she's taken a liking to him.
She's having a lot of fun with her mortal boy toy. I
want an Adam, but...
Yeah, I mean... Alexis Denisov is hot.
I mean, he's fine. Not specifically him. I want the notion of an Adam.
Oh, okay, fair.
like the sex golem in in The Magicians.
Yeah.
So it appears that she went ahead and married him. He wanted to be married, and first she said no, but then she said yes because my assumption is that's a way for her to protect him from the Dark Lord.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it.
I think so too.
So I guess we'll check in after the next one.
Yes, we will. I dropped something.
Yeah, I heard.
Bye.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Did you like this one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like this one a lot. Like a lot.
My complaint is I think it needed to be 2 episodes.
I could see that.
I was a little bit like Whiplash.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. I wrote a bunch of notes, but they're all pretty much moot because almost all of them were dealt with within the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my talking points is like, I wonder if this is gonna. I'm like, well, there we go. I wanted angels. Not like this.
No, definitely not like this.
But it's exciting. And
one of them was Spencer Treat Clark.
Yeah.
Who we like a lot.
Yeah. Well, he's gone. So
yeah.
Jeremanthiel or something.
Something like that. He deserved it.
Yeah. Oh no. Like I said, my only complaint is that I wish it was 2. I wish that this amount of plot was broken into 2 episodes, I guess, because it felt like we were receiving a lot of information.
Yeah.
So I think my issues with the show are finally handled because Sabrina at least acknowledged the fundamental flaw I was having with all the Satanism.
Sure, yeah. Well, and I think the juxtaposition of having the literal Christian angels be the bad guys in this episode. They are the ones attacking our heroes.
That did so much because it really, because that's what I was trying to imagine. I'm like, we have the Dark Lord. like physically. We have Satan. I was like, therefore there must be a god.
Mhm.
And I was like, so what is the god? I was having a hard time understanding how people weren't going to that side.
Yeah.
And we have established certainly
Part of it.
Yeah, as antagonistic.
I did like...
Which works.
Yeah, it does work. I did like when Harvey and Nick were kind of having their pissing contest, and Harvey was like, aren't angels supposed to be good? And Nick just goes, they're the ones with the flaming swords. And I was like, that's fucking true, man.
We've had lots of discussions, because I fall down angel rabbit holes on the internet, because biblical accounts of angels are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, they are so insane and scary and crazy. And I did want wings, and we did get them, but it was like as they were disintegrating, their wings came out. I guess I wish we met the angels, like I said in the previous episode, and we're sort of, you and I are sort of, we just kind of are cutting to the chase, cutting to the end of the episode.
Sure,
we're not really establishing it, but because I had several notes where I predict a redemption arc for Dorcas and Melvin.
I was gonna say, that was one of the things I wanted to bring up, which is that I think Dorcas got a little sweet on Melvin during Lupercalia. Because she was like really worried about him, and it was super cute. I liked it a lot.
And they always, I think the way that the show has focused on Dorcas, I have a feeling that she's going to end up being more of a, oh shit, this would have been funny if I remember her name. The good stepsister from Ever After. Not Marguerite, the other one.
Josephine.
There you go. I think she's going to be...
I would love for her to get added to the cast. She's still not in the cast. She's a guest star.
Her and Theo are still not. And it's weird to me because of the three sisters, I feel like Dorcas is getting more material than Agatha. So it's
right now for sure.
Got to be strange. It's got to be strange contract.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, just the way that they've positioned her, I feel like we're going to have a slightly more sympathetic. She'll be the Josephine to Agatha's Marguerite.
Yeah, I get that.
And I am thoroughly enjoying the weird sisters' presence within the show and how they are able to walk the tightrope between villains and not heroes,
but yeah, like neutral.
Yeah, worthy of. Well, they're badass in their own right, and
sure,
and so that helps. I guess the huge reveal.
Do we need to pour one out?
Well, for who?
For Luke.
Oh, well, is he dead? They took his hands.
Oh, so you think he's just handless hanging from that tree in the forest?
I don't know. Well, I mean, we...
I guess you're right. We still didn't see him die.
Yeah. There was a point in time where I couldn't remember Spencer Treat Clark's name, so I looked him up and saw he was only in this one episode, so I had a hunch he was only going to be in this one episode. And then there was the scene where the third angel shot the arrow through Dorian Gray, and I was like, stop taking my blonde boys away!
Well, Dorian Gray's fine.
Yeah, he came back, and can also imprison people in paintings, which is an interesting...
I like it. I dig it.
No.
I also think that while I don't find it as nuanced and interesting as Reeve Carney's Dorian Gray, I do like his Dorian Gray. All I know of Jedediah Goodacre is his character on Legacies, and while he's good, it is sort of it was a rote kind of role, and I think he's doing more than I thought he could do with Dorian Gray. So I'm impressed and I like it. I hope he sticks around.
This is where I get into slight, like, I'm trying to understand the world that we're dealing with, and like I said, now I'm grateful to have a full grasp on the angels and demons of it all.
Right.
And can totally, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm actually, there was a comic book series called Dawn, in which God was a very antagonistic force. There were angels and stuff, and they were I can't think of the word I want to use, but they were pretty ruthless. So it's like I'm open to this idea, to this, reality, but I'm wondering if Dorian Gray in this world is famous, is like a thing the way Dorian Gray is in our world.
Oh,
like, is he kind of like a celebrity in this reality?
Or if he's somebody...
is this a person that just is kind of inspired by?
Cool, okay. Well, I mean, he certainly is supposed to be the Dorian Gray we know, but if you mean if within the world he just is a dude whose, like, sins are trapped in a painting.
Yeah, or
Okay.
if he's like renowned, if he's like a figure
Gotcha,
of myth.
gotcha.
And I feel like we kind both were
Yeah.
in between there somewhere. No, I mean, I will accept if Luke is dead. And you're right, this is the magic show, so
Yeah.
who knows what. And he really wasn't all that important, but I'm not 100% there yet,
Sure.
just yet.
So, are you pouring one out for Adam?
Well, I wasn't pouring. Who is Adam?
Mrs.
Oh,
Wardwell's boyfriend?
Well, yeah, Adam. I literally have a note where I was like, I'm really kind of digging this like domestic thing
I
that Mrs.
know.
Wardwell has going on. And
Me too.
I was like, who would have ever guessed that Lilith just needed a good man? And I was right there with her, where I was like, why is this scene suddenly weird?
Yeah.
And then she pulled the ring out of the meat, and immediately I was like, oh, it's him.
I know, I was very sad.
And Stolas, I was like so happy to get Stolas back, that traitor.
Yeah, that's a rude crow.
Yeah. Well, also Stolas was a woman in the Passion play. I thought that was weird. I didn't know if that was meant to be the same
Yeah, I don't know.
entity. No, the thing that I wasn't pouring one out. I was like, let's get to the thing. The thing from the episode, and it's that Sabrina is apparently the sword of Satan?
I mean, look, I was a little, it's again like what you said, there was so much happening in this episode that I kind of got whiplash, and so by the time that we got there, I was not sure if that was like actually happening, or if it was like, if it was like some kind of combined spell with like Hilda and like Ambrose and Nick all managed to like fuse something together, but everybody else seemed super surprised. So
that felt like a season-ending revelation, not like an episode 6 revelation.
Yeah.
And it's trying my not patience, but it's trying me a little bit. I'm not breaking yet, but it's that is I'm gonna want them to show their work in a way.
Well, I suspect they will. I would imagine that Sabrina didn't even know she could do that until everybody she cares about was like threatened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's going to be some fallout in the next episode, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Jen warned me. Jen's been trying to talk to me about the season for like the whole week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're not there yet. She didn't realize we were covering it for the show. So she's like, bitch,
Why
watch
didn't you
it.
finish
I was
it?
like, I can't. And so she's been telling me that she was like, it kicks into high fucking gear. And I was like, okay, because they're wandering a little bit at this in the early few episodes.
Yeah.
But because it's like at this point now, Sabrina has resurrected people.
Yeah, 2 of them. Well, I mean, she resurrected Agatha. I guess the Kane plot resurrected Agatha, but she's been doing hefty magic the whole time.
She also brought back Tommy, I guess. I don't know why this felt different. Well, because she did it with her fire hands.
Well, sure. that would make a difference.
And man, this is a bold show, and it's exciting because it's like, if you were gonna do something like this, then it's at the very least they are committed to their thing.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, we can't be like, they just didn't go all in.
I don't think they really took it far enough.
Thorns. Like, oh man, it's funny. It's good. It's funny. This is exciting. I mean, I've expressed an interest in like wanting to watch. I call it Christian mythology.
Yeah,
and I never did get into Supernatural, and there's a fair amount of it in there. And it's like, this is some American Horror Story apocalypse level stuff.
Yeah.
That is this, like, that wanted to be this, frankly.
Yes, I agree with you. Well, Theo kind of read Roz and Harvey the Riot Act.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so, because they were being dicks. I was like, I don't understand. To a point where I wondered if I had skipped an episode.
Yeah.
I was like, did I miss something? And they were just doing that whole like, well, and like Harvey was talking for Roz, and I don't know. And then Theo was like, Theo had the correct response.
Yeah.
He was like, you mean all the awesome things that she did for us? Like,
you mean like how she helped me on the basketball team, and she like healed this, and she like made your dad quit drinking and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Theo's got the right of it.
That was a weird breath of fresh air that a character was like grateful for the magical assist.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't get that a lot on these shows.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because in a different show, Theo would have been angry that Sabrina made him good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I would be so grateful if somebody made me good at something.
I'd take that. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, I'm a basketball star now. I'd learn how to play. You know what I mean? Like, I liked the cassette tapes. I like that with both this and both Greendale and Riverdale, we don't know what decade we're in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Quentin was back with the Ghost Children.
I did really like that too.
Yeah, I was surprised. And Harvey was very funny, where he was just like, Ghost Children.
Mm-hmm. I did like him coming in like being able to like come to the school and kind of like see a little bit more what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I suspect he'll have something to say about Sabrina's firearms, just like we talked about. But
well, and it's like I had even kind of forgotten he was a witch hunter, and so it's like the mythology that we're dealing with. I mean, it really got kicked a notch.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
We went to 11 with this one, and also, I mean, it's going to be interesting having a witch hunter working with the witches.
Right.
I'm into it.
Well, I mean, that goes back, I mean, so far to everything. I mean, that's a lot like Spike working with, Buffy. And so it's just sort of, I do love those juxtapositions. It's just everything seemingly in this show is flipped the other way.
So is Ambrose, he was stabbed, right? But Hilda was with him, so we don't know his fate. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to make it.
I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I'm saying we don't know where he is at this moment. We didn't check in with him.
Not at the end, yeah.
God, Zelda's going to come home from Rome. She's going to be the gif of Donald Glover.
That was one of the things I liked the most about this episode, is how everybody continually, at every turn, underestimates Hilda, and it is only to their detriment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it took her less than 5 minutes to figure out she was not talking to Ambrose.
Mm-hmm.
That was so good. And I just love her so much. I think Lucy Davis is doing so much with the role, and it just like works at every turn. And I love her little relationship with Dr. Cerberus. Still,
did we mention that
thing.
Did we mention he was an incubus? I can't remember.
We did, yeah. When in the episode we found out, we mentioned it.
He wears a bracelet that can be taken off and set loose.
I think Hilda made that for him so that they could be together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the show is trusting you to be able to catch up.
Well, yeah, because in the episode where he said he was one, he was like, "We can't be together; it's too dangerous." And she was like, "I can fix it." She was like, "I have something that I have to tell you too." And so I just assumed she used her witchy powers to fix it, so they could still be together, which is adorable. I guess the only other thing is that Mrs. Wardwell Lilith, she is going scorched earth a little.
Yeah.
She put the secret ring on and was like, "I'm coming for you."
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I'm excited for that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna watch the next episode.
Well, I can't. I have other things to do tonight, but we can maybe talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so this most recent episode, 7, I guess, was called The Miracles of Sabrina Spellman. I really liked this one. But again, I feel like they are just cramming plot into these episodes.
Yeah, we're blowing through plot.
Well, it's not, I don't even think they're blowing through plot, but I feel like they meandered in the first 10 episodes and they were like, we gotta get somewhere, and now they're like shoving stuff in.
I wouldn't say that. I thought you meant of this, because I think season 1 was its own exciting story, but referring to this as season 2, it's like I feel like the first 3 episodes were kind of like meh, and then these last like 2 or 3 have been like, oh man,
yeah.
It like I probably would have broken these last 2 episodes into 3.
Sure,
but,
yeah, I can see that.
I really like Sabrina as a character, but man, does she get cavalier about things.
I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to talk about it too. She had this power for like approximately 3 seconds, and she was like, I don't really think I need the rules anymore. And I was like, girl, you need to like look and listen and learn before you do anything else.
Hilda's exasperation was just
so good. Poor Hilda, at some point, she's gonna like blow up in an actual gasket.
I also love, I wasn't going to go straight to, like, Zelda, because I was like, oh my god, is she wearing a dress? It was stunning.
It was
And
spectacular.
I love that Hilda, because at first I was like, come on, Hilda, catch up. And it seemed like she wasn't. But I like that she totally understood what was happening. She just was biding her time.
Right.
She was sort of like, I don't know what to deal with first. And so, like, when Zelda waltzed back into the house, I love how she was kind of like, Sabrina, she's under a spell. You know, it's like...
I think it's tied to the music box. I haven't had time to check.
And then, oh, God, poor Levanthian again.
Leviathan.
Or there you go. I do that all the time.
No, I know. I know. That was fucking horrible. I was screeching in the living room.
It's almost, for me, it did the thing where it was so, they went so much for it that it veered into funny. Like, I was kind of laughing.
Funny, but he was squeaking the whole time. It was horrible.
Well, in the beginning.
Yeah.
He stopped. I couldn't. I thought she was going to put him in the garbage disposal, and I thought for sure we were going to catch it before it happened.
Yeah, poor Mousy.
And I was
I was like, why didn't he turn into a goblin?
Oh, I don't know.
Why didn't he go like goblin version of Leviathan?
I mean, that might be what goblin meat looks like.
Oh no, but I mean, like to get away. Like, why didn't he like attack Zelda?
I don't know. I feel like we've lost the goblin.
Okay.
I feel like that's a weird line.
Sucks, but...
Because Salem is just barely kicking it.
That's true. He's, like, around, but...
But Miranda Otto's line reading of Satan in hell, what am I wearing?
Satan in hell, what am I wearing?
We're gonna pull the soundbite because I first of all, I rewound it and watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
Because I was laughing so hard. And I can't mimic it. Like, I was trying because it was like, she put an oomph in hell. It was like, hell. Like,
yeah. No, look, here's the thing. I think in season 1, we addressed our semi-issues with Miranda Otto as Eowyn specifically. So we had this kind of weird beef with Miranda Otto for like, I don't know, 6 years. But she is doing so much with Zelda. And I mean, Hilda is definitely my favorite of the aunts, but like I just think they both are so perfectly and spectacularly cast that I couldn't even imagine anybody else as either of them. I don't know what else to say. It's so good.
Aside from Beth Broderick and Caroline Rhea, but
well, no, of course, but they are the comedy version of what's happening here.
It just like, and even when because Hilda said something almost before, hellhounds, when Sabrina showed up with the music box. It was like, hellhounds. It was really funny. I find blaspheming funny, and that in just a general sense, we're charting it on the magicians, as well, but that's carrying over here.
Yeah, it really is.
Sabrina healed Roz. I feel like that's gonna come back to bite her in some way.
I think so too, unfortunately.
Sabrina can heal, she can resurrect, she can control the weather, and she's doing all of this without like spells or incantations or stuff.
Yeah, and she can manifest objects through space and time.
Yeah, because Hilda even she was like, magic has consequences, and Sabrina was just like, not for me. And again, it's like 6 hours. It's been 6 hours. There hasn't been time to. Yeah. And I also, it's like, I'm all for the witches and the humans intermingling, but I feel like Sabrina's logic that this must be what the secret is.
It's like she got like within like 0.3 seconds she acquired a messiah complex. And it's like, girl, take it easy. Like Roz and Theo and Harvey know, maybe like let like 4 more people know, and then if you want to like keep going, like start inviting like those 6 people over to to the school or whatever, or like to Dorian's. I don't know where they can all get in, but yeah, I agree. She's taking it a little too fast and loose, as we found out at the end of the episode.
You said to Dorian, I was going to say Dorian Gray, more like Dorian Betray.
Right? What a cock. I guess that is the whole point of Dorian Gray, though.
Well, also, he did make one very specific distinction where he was like, I look out for myself.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that he's not necessarily in like line with Father Blackwood as he
Right,
is just sort of an opportunist.
Yeah, I feel like he told Father Blackwood just so he can be like, I've done my part, now you can't come after me for my part in this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what it was, but still, I was like, come on, Jedediah Goodacre. I can't stop saying his name. It's so
I was going to say
ridiculous.
it's the rare occasion where his real name is better than the character on this show.
It's great.
Seriously, if they should be swapped. It's like
I was going to say it's kind of like Gavin Leatherwood and Nick Scratch. They are equally evil warlock sounding names.
I was wondering if and how Prudence and Ambrose's dalliance was going to factor into this, because she was being very mean to him, and
yeah, apparently zero. Apparently it's going to factor in zero.
She did have that conversation with him in this episode.
Well, the only part of that where I thought she was being even remotely, like, decent to him was the end, where she was like, you live with honor, you'll die with it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just am like, Prudence, like...
We have to remember how ready she was to die for...
Yeah, I guess. I like feel a little bad for Ambrose, who is down 2 lovers, one of each gender, and is like fresh out of prospects.
I did cheat and look, and Luke is not in any more episodes, so I think
that sucks.
I think he's dead. But, well, Sabrina saved him. She manifested the Dark Lord.
Yeah, Hilda saved him the first time, and then Sabrina saved him.
Mm-hmm. And that also felt like ballsy. Although, again, I mean, Sabrina is apparently like the sword of Satan, so I don't know, maybe this is what he wants her to be doing. I have no idea what we're building to. She's also like, what did they refer to it? The big reveal at the end of the episode? She's like a harbinger?
The harbinger, yeah. The harbinger of hell, I think they called her.
Is that what they called it? Yeah, there was like a mosaic to her under the mines because Harvey and Theo went Descent style into the mines.
And which Theo kept mentioning was like, have you ever seen The Descent, Harvey? This feels a lot like The Descent. And then there was even like an albino monster.
Yeah, I have such issue with like American puritanical standards, because they were ballsy enough to make the hag topless.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't show anything. And I'm like, mind you, we just saw a mouse go through a meat grinder 5 minutes before this. So I think we could handle prosthetic hag titties.
Yeah.
But whatever. I thought it was dumb. I liked it, but the standards, American standards, I find stupid.
It's bizarre, yeah.
And then I guess the last thing that we need to mention is that Mrs. Wardwell has gone biblical. And
yes, she has.
When did you figure out what she was doing?
I guess when the guy went in her bathroom and saw the like golem in the tub.
For me, it was when I figured that, but when she was hunched over, like groaning, I thought, what on earth is she doing? And out loud, I was like, oh my God, she's taking out a rib. It was very like that scene in Mother. Yes, I was like, oh my God.
With Ed Harris, yeah.
It was giving me life. Ugh.
And then she gave it life, and then she named it Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I think she really loved him. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, she's a fascinating character.
So fascinating. Honestly, the casting on this show cannot be overstated how wonderful it is. And I really feel like, obviously I can't see the scripts or whatever, but I honestly believe that Michelle Gomez is bringing something extra to her portrayal. I don't think I could love her more than I love her already. She is, first of all, we've just said it before, but she is an absolute smoke show.
Mm-hmm.
Every time she's on screen. Her fucking, like Veronica Lake blowout and her like bold lip, and she's got these crazy eyeballs, and she's just constantly wearing nothing but like fur trimmed silk dressing gowns.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot handle it. And every time she does something, the evil purr of her voice, everything about it is so spectacular.
She's serving, honestly, this is some of the highest praise that I can bestow, but she's serving some like Leslie Ann Warren, Madeline Kahn in Clue.
Yes.
Yes.
Plus like a smidge of Gina Gershon from Showgirls.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good. So. That is, if any of you are like standard listeners to the show, those are all extremely high praise. It's wild to me. It's so good.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that was it. Sabrina almost revealed herself to all of her mortal friends, and then at the last moment didn't. And I will say, as annoying as she can be, and frankly, as annoying as a lot of these characters can be, they thus far have managed to not go crazy. Like, to not go full into that territory, because she listened to Harvey. I was shocked when she listened to Harvey.
I was too. I thought for sure she'd be like, okay, see you down there, and then melt the broom anyway.
And the fact that he was able to pull the, like, if you ever loved me.
No, I totally agree. I was gonna say I'm interested in whatever, like, nascent friendship is developing between Roz and Nick. They had, like, a couple short scenes together that I thought was really cute. I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, like, that's, like, a cute... I just sort of felt like it doesn't make any sense for Harvey and Nick to be friends. They've got this, like, sort of rivalry. Hilarious teenage boy rivalry going on. But, like, Roz is super open to everything, and I like pairing Roz with Nick is in, like, as the marriage of Sabrina's two worlds. I thought that was, like, a smart choice to have it be Roz. I love it.
Where's Billy been? He's been notoriously absent in these last few episodes. They're going to kill him in the next one, so...
Yeah, who knows? I will say I have seen a couple of spoilers, and I won't tell you the one, but I will tell you one because I don't think it has anything to do with the plot. I think they're having a masquerade at some point.
Paper Faces on Parade?
Yes, exactly. I saw some gift sets, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And so I'm very excited. I don't know what episode it'll be in, but I think it's we've only got 4 left, so it's got to be in the next couple. But I'm excited about it.
Cool. Are you concerned that it appears that Harvey was going into the mines for inspiration, a la his what?
A la what? A la his what?
His, like, card reading from Veronica Cartwright.
Oh, I had forgotten about that.
That's why I thought he went back into the mines, is to get inspiration for his art.
I'm not sure, maybe. Shit.
And I was like, dude, you were warned.
Yeah. I did really like his drawing of Sabrina, though. And honestly, I mean, okay, first of all, at what point are these people going to start being terrified enough to not go back in the mines? And secondly, maybe now that he found what he found, maybe it was like a compulsion. Maybe it was part of his, like, witch hunter compulsion to, like, find this thing. Maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But... I hope he doesn't just keep going.
Are we going to get any more angels? Are we, like, done? Or, because, I mean, I feel like maybe they're going to want revenge or an explanation or something.
I don't know.
I mean, I imagine we'll get more angels at some point, but...
Yeah. Oh, I guess we met Methuselah, and, probably not the real one.
Well, but... again, with Dorian Gray thing, that's where I was wondering.
Yeah. But, I also... Father Blackwood got taken down a couple pegs, which was pretty great. Because he was, like, named the interim anti-pope, but then when he kept on harping on Sabrina, Queen Regent, Dowager Countess, like, but yeah, then he got it taken away when he was, like, targeting Sabrina, which was pretty great.
Yeah, as much as Mr. Blackwood, or, Father Blackwood. Yeah, as much as he sucks, I don't not want him on the show, and so I am a little bit sort of like where we are. Maybe we can cycle through some villains and avoid a Hiram situation. So
avoid a what situation?
A Hiram situation.
Oh yeah, God.
So okay, well we'll check in after the next episode. There's 2 more.
Yes, we will. There's 4 more.
No, maybe 3.
Or 3. 8, 9, 10. Yeah. 3.
Okay.
All right.
Bye. So, okay, there's 1 more episode left. We were wrong. We thought there were 2.
Right.
That actually factors in.
Yes. Correct. Because I thought we were staring down the barrel of, like, a 2-part season finale, kind of, and it's definitely not.
This was a weird episode. I don't know about you. I am still enjoying the show because it's still wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
But I was getting frustrated watching this episode. Were you?
I was getting frustrated too, but is that what you mean when it go like, because I was getting frustrated thinking we still had a whole other episode of this, but because we're plowing right into the final episode, I think I feel better about it.
You do? Okay. This season has been backloaded. It's like these last couple episodes were like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like, the plot is just barreling down. And I'm gonna say it again, I am still thoroughly enjoying the show, but I had like 9 different issues with this episode.
I didn't have that many. What were your issues?
Well, I was taking notes at first, and then I just stopped because it was futile, but... because I was cracking it was genuinely making me laugh, sometimes like where it wanted to and sometimes at it, because it was like I was cracking up at the picture Harvey drew of the mural.
Yeah.
Because I was like, did they all just sit there and wait while he drew the picture?
While he finished
I was like, did none of them have a phone? Like, I mean, I guess the lighting was bad, but yeah, so it opens with them all just staring at this picture Harvey drew of the mural they were all just looking at. And so that was funny. And then, I'm fine with Harvey and Roz, but it is something that I'm tolerating. It's not like an OTP thing for me. So the fact that we're having to go through these like beckonate, like they had to say I love you and stuff, and because at first I think both of us were kind of like, whoa, too soon, and then you were like, well, it's been a few months actually, but I was finding the plot contrived in a way that, to say a third time, if I wasn't enjoying, I would have been more annoyed by.
Okay.
Because it was just a lot. There was a lot of suspension of... and it's like, I like Sabrina, and I think Kiernan makes her great, but it's like she has a tendency to just barrel into things and be like, there's no other way. And I was like, have you tried literally anything? Like,
yeah, literally any other choice.
And she just gets these things in her head where it just sort of, I don't know, I feel like it was inconsistent in some places. Because, I mean, we're at the 20-minute mark and she's just like, I have to be immortal forever. And it's just, it's like, it was giving me the kind of like emotional whiplash that the third Hunger Games book would give me when Katniss was constantly like trying to kill.
Yeah. I'm doing this. I'm killing Peeta for his own good.
Yeah, it was like to spare him the pain of like a paper cut. And I was like, he might be okay. He might make it through this. You might not have to murder him right now.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of in that territory. So I was lolling a lot throughout this episode. I kind of kept waiting for you to ask me what, or like to respond, but then we do this, so.
Yeah. Mostly, I thought it was great because it still is doing that thing where we talked about it. It is kind of barreling through the plot in these, but I guess that might be because it only had 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It was missing one, essentially. But I like that aspect of it because I prefer when shows like this don't have a lot of downtime that feels like we're just treading water. That being said...
I mean, they were trusting us to keep up. Like,
Yeah. And that being said, I agree with you about Sabrina. She is constantly, at every turn, making brash decisions with, like, no thought to the possible consequences. And then somehow being surprised when it has consequences. And so...
Well, and her and Nick figuring out Mrs. Wardwell, I was like... I was impressed. I was like, okay. But it's still, and I hate that, we're 2 seasons in and I'm still having the same fundamental issue. And also like 2 episodes ago, I claimed that I was finally over it. But my problem is that I don't think the show makes sense on a very base level, because it's like these people are worshiping the Dark Lord who is trying. It's like, are they for him or against him? Because it's like, we're now dealing with the apocalypse in which the gates of hell are going to open and he's going to enslave both witch and mankind. And so it's like, that sounds bad. And the way that they're like, well, we have to stop the apocalypse. I'm like, this is your guy. This is your team. Like, I don't understand what the ultimate goals are on the show. You know what it's like?
Well, I'll be honest. I think it's a little bit like Spike on Buffy, where it's like, yes, he's evil, but ending the world isn't good for him.
Well, yeah.
Like, you can worship Satan all day long, but the actual end times isn't helpful to anybody. And so I think that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
Where, like, the Dark Lord wants to bring about end times, but if they bring about end times, they're all going to die too.
Then why are their lives devoting to serving him? Because that's what he's working towards. I mean, that's where this
I can't
Yeah,
answer.
and so it's like on a fundamental level, I have this like, and I just ignore it. I just sort of like, some things it's like, because they'll be like, oh, this is bad. And I'm like, bad good or bad bad? And so it's like, I have to wait for them to explain to me whether or not this bad thing is a good bad thing or a bad bad thing. Like, as long as the show is entertaining, I'll do it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, they trust us to keep up, and we were just barreling through plot. And like, Mirror or Mandrake Sabrina was hilarious.
Yes, I want to give huge props to Kiernan Shipka. She is... Honestly, I mean, I've thought so the whole time, but this was so hilarious and so good, and it's so different than real Sabrina. I was so impressed. It was hilarious.
And I touched on some of the sound effects on the show and the season in particular in like the first couple episodes, but they were like back at it again, where that scene with her and Hilda was so funny. The like, all the stings and the sound cues and stuff. And so that's the part where I'm just like, oh my God, this is so funny. There's nothing like this on TV, you know?
Yeah.
MVP of the episode goes to Theo.
Oh, 100%. That was hysterical. Every time they cut to him, the faces he was making were so spectacular. And like at the beginning when Harvey and Roz were like in that fight, and Theo was like, I'm gonna just dip out of this conversation, and like ran away. It was hilarious.
You also have to love like Dorothea snapping him awake and being like, you gotta kill these jokers quick. And he was like, wah! Smash! Like, there was no like, but I don't understand. What?
Right.
But what's happening? Like, there was none of that thing where a character is something stupid in order to let the plot spiral out of control.
Yeah, he literally was like, done. I got it. I got you, Aunt
I thought he
Dorothea.
handled it the first time, and then he proceeded to smash Harvey's head, and I was like, oh, God. It was, and then how upset Mandrake Sabrina, the whole thing was so funny.
It was very good.
It appears Prudence has been weirdly used this whole season.
I'm not loving it.
Well, it appears we finally have come through the
Broken through the other side, yeah.
But in the process, she betrayed Zelda and gave baby Letitia back to Father Blackwood, and he's gonna marry her to her brother. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
okay.
Baby Letitia is now named Baby Judith, and Baby Judith is going to marry Baby Judas when they both turn 16.
Okay. And that was the final straw, finally, for Prudence.
Yeah. Because he kept talking about how they had to purify the bloodline, and it just was like, if you didn't want to have a bastard daughter, you shouldn't have been fucking around. You know?
Yeah. Blackwood's gone off the deep end completely, and the council is worthless, and...
Yeah.
Methuselah was pretending, and then he wasn't, and then he was creepy, and then he was dead. It was really weird.
Hilda killed him because he got handsy.
Yeah, it was funny again, but I already had forgotten that her familiar was a spider.
Oh yeah, me too. I wondered why he was covered in spiders.
Yeah, I don't know. This was a weird recap on our part. We're not really recapping it, but...
No, I mean, it was like a lot going on, and I get it, but
because Mrs. Wardwell is... Because she's another one where it's like, I don't understand her motivations. Every time they figure out she's a bad guy, she within seconds is like, you just don't understand the entirety of the plan. And then she is right back into this like mentor-like position with them.
Well, I think until Nick read it to her, I think she didn't know the end of the prophecy. Because she was trying to get Sabrina to do all of this to call the Dark Lord, but then she didn't realize that the Dark Lord was going to then like take Sabrina as his like, you know, second essentially, and then she's left out in the cold. I think she just thought when he comes back, I'll be here.
But I do feel like this is like the third time we've done that.
Well, yeah.
And again, to say a fifth time, as long as it's entertaining, I'll watch it, but...
Right, and I mean, the performances and, like, the jokes and everything are working on such a level that I'm not mad about it. They're just... I get all your issues. I don't necessarily have them to the degree that you do, but I definitely understand that it's, you know...
It just doesn't make sense.
Questionable, yeah.
I mean, it's fun, and as long as the show is fun, I will watch it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So... And I don't think anything is outright bad. but
Right,
it
yeah.
is straining my comprehension at the moment. But
I mean, that makes sense.
so we have a potential apocalypse coming, and we have an episode to deal with it. So
Yep.
I guess we'll check back in after the finale.
Yes, we will.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, I left my water.
Sorry?
No, that's okay, because we got a tall drink of water in this episode.
I wondered where
to
you were
hold
going with
me
that.
over. When Lucifer fell, he did not fall alone. Oh,
That's true. Yeah, that guy's a hot piece.
Luke Cook.
Yeah.
looked
Oh,
him up.
was that who it
Mhm.
was? Okay.
32 from Australia.
Damn, those Australians, they make them right, don't they?
I wondered what it looked like down under. We got close.
We did get pretty close.
I
He's wearing a
suddenly
loincloth.
understand everything. I totally get it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah,
You're just good with the whole season now?
I get it all,
It was all
including
leading to this, so it's fine.
including the one like cloven hoof.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
I'm
You
fine.
didn't have to specify that.
Below the knee, but yeah. So, well, we got Lucifer, Morningstar, and
Yes,
I
we
didn't. It felt soon, but also it was fine. This weirdly, honestly, it played like a series finale, if you ask me.
It could certainly have been.
I mean, we're getting 2 more, and I'm excited. I'm especially based on how we end, but I say overall that was a really good ending.
Yeah, I agree. They're really setting up Nick Scratch for like an Angel situation.
Oh.
Like Angel the show, Angel the character, and Angel the show.
Yeah,
Like sending him to hell.
I never trusted him, and when that reveal happened, it was like everything within my power to not point and like Nelson from The Simpsons just be like, ha ha. But then
But he
was,
does love her,
Yeah,
and she's fine with it.
bleh. I just wanted him to have hard betrayed her. I thought that would have been great. I
didn't.
He's fine. I don't have any actual like beef with him.
No, I still love him.
I
So
take
yeah, I
things
have
and
no
run.
shame.
Yeah, I don't even really know. It was an hour. It felt like longer in, not a bad way. It was
Yeah.
good. But I didn't write down any notes. I was so entertained from like beginning
Oh yeah, it was
to end.
spectacular. I will say we almost lost the entire Church of Night,
Mhm.
but we did dispatch Father Blackwood, which honestly, I know he's coming back, but thank God.
I feel like, he'll be immediately back. I don't think they're trying
Yeah.
to get rid of Richard Coyle.
No, but it was just, I mean, he poisoned every member of the Church of
Mhm.
Night.
Mm-hmm.
And only some quick thinking from Zelda and Ambrose and Hilda managed to save them all.
Mm-hmm. He finally did run away because Lucifer showed up and kind of put him in his place.
Mm-hmm.
He actually made fun of him. It was great. Because he even pulled the, like, I have met Judas and you are no Judas.
Mhm.
I still think that in a general sense, Harvey and Roz and Theo are a little bit hangers-on, but it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of showed their worth in this episode, though.
I laughed out loud when Harvey paused to bring his art supplies to go down to the gates of hell. And I was
And
like,
aren't you
oh.
glad he did?
Yeah, because we needed them. It was really convenient. And also, you, exclaimed when this, entire scene unfolds, and then it cuts to him, and he's just holding Nick Scratch's body. And you were
Yeah.
like, in what reality can...
I was like, look, Ross Lynch is very cute, but he is a spindly little doofus. In literally no universe can he lift up Gavin Leatherwood, carry him across town, and then down through a mine shaft. There's no way. No way.
Anyways. Well, there was a big revelation that Lucifer is Sabrina's father.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, witch, mortal, and...
Devil?
Yeah, well, Hilda called him a god, and Lilith was like, he likes people to think that, but he is not.
Yeah, she said, I've seen him bleed.
Mm-hmm. He tricked Edward, and Diana suspected.
Yeah, but wasn't sure.
Yeah, that was a little odd. And he wanted to make Sabrina his daughter queen
Super creepy.
It was creepy. It was weird. But at this point, I was sort of like, you might as well. I mean,
yeah, right.
As weird as this show is. And I can't believe, because you had told me and I completely forgot that we were going to get a Masquerade. And I immediately started singing Masquerade.
Yeah, well, I didn't tell you it was the song on purpose.
Oh, you knew that though?
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw a gift set of her singing.
I was delighted when they started doing it. That was one of the coolest scenes, because it just like I don't know. I loved it so much because it was like Gossip Girl never. I mean, they had plenty of masquerades, but they didn't sing Masquerade.
I'm not sure anybody in that cast except for Leighton Meester can actually sing.
Sure, but
and I say that with the full confidence knowing Taylor Momsen's in a band.
And actually, Sabrina's dress looked a lot like Serena's wedding dress. So,
oh yeah,
with all the gold.
That dress was amazing.
Sabrina's, oh my god,
yes.
It was so good, and the crown was so good, and the thrones. It was a nice call because Lucifer was in a like throne of skulls. Yeah. And then when she sat down in hers, you were like, oh my god, it's pomegranates. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this with like where I'll bring up Jadis the White Witch, where I was like, if I were ever in one of these supernatural predicaments, I would be so screwed. I would sell you all for a nickel. Like, if it was just a pretty face. And so I was kind of sort of into the whole Lucifer thing, especially when Sabrina asked for Greendale.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, I know how you love your human pets, sure. And I was kind of like, oh, this is the place the show could go. But
yeah,
we saved Agatha and Dorcas and Melvin and Ispith, who is apparently a character. Elspeth. Okay, sorry.
That's a real name.
Fine, so is Dorcas. That doesn't mean we need to be throwing it around. Whatever happened to Shirley? Did she actually just die? Did Hilda just kill her?
Oh, I mean, yeah, she gave her... which one did she give her?
The one that
cyanide? She gave her cyanide. Yeah. That will kill you immediately.
No, I know, but we figured that Hilda was going to put her in the Kane plot, and then...
Oh, yeah, I don't think she did that.
Remember, she gave her... She gave it... Maybe the show just expected us to get there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe she did. If she shows back up, then we'll know how. But from where we are now, it looks like RIP.
Yeah.
And then Ambrose and Prudence are on a quest to go find Father Blackwood.
Yeah, they're gonna get the twins. Because, first of all, I want a little interstitial where, like, Father Blackwood can't handle raising twins by himself. Because now he's on the run from all the Spellmans with 2 baby infant twins. Like, that's not going to work out great for him.
I feel like he's worthless.
Yeah.
Especially in this regard, because it's like with his like backwards patriarchal ways, literally the only thing women were good for in his world is this that he now has. So it's like he doesn't have experience doing this. He doesn't know how to raise kids.
Exactly. Or even like make sure that they live out the day.
It appears that we finally have ended on good terms with Lilith. And Sabrina gave her the crown, so she is now... Well, they locked... Oh, right, okay, so yeah. So they trapped...
We have a little more.
Yeah, they trapped Lucifer in Nick Scratch's body, and it was a little bit, like, MacGuffin-y. Like, it was a little bit... I was sort of like, but it was fine. I allowed it.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
They were like, the most complicated prison is the human body, and I was like, I mean, I don't know how to get out of this place, so maybe it's true, but I've been trying for years. But... sorry, was that...
I've been trying to shuffle off this mortal coil for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, so they brought him down to hell, and Lilith...
Yes, Harvey carried him in his arms all the way to hell. With Ross Lynch's teensy little arms.
And so then Lilith gave Sabrina her magic back. I mean, honestly, I had even forgotten at this point that she didn't have it. I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, because it was still, she like put it in the mandrake or whatever. Yeah, and then she was like in a second gift and she was like, you'll see. And I'm not confident that it's what they think it was. Do you think it was really the real Mrs. Wardwell? That's the second gift?
Either way, if that's what it is, then I'm fine with it. But if something rears its head, then I'd be like, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. But I mean, poor real Mrs. Wardwell. Adam's still dead.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
I mean, maybe she undid that too, and we just didn't see it. But yeah, I don't know. Because I don't want a Michelle Gomez-less show, but I also don't want a Lilith-less Mary. So
yeah, I have a feeling. She's gonna have to come back at some point. Well, I mean, Sabrina and Theo and Harvey and Roz are all trying to go rescue Nick. That's going to be like the setup for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, we're going to get Lilith in hell. But I suspect that she will have to come back and embody Mrs. Wardwell again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we did finally end in a nice gray zone with her, which is what we've wanted from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, and Zelda is now the high priestess of the Church of Lilith, which she founded. So.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
I'm excited. Honestly, yeah, this shit can't come back fast enough. I hope it's October. I hope we don't have to wait like a full year.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to do that, if it was going to be like October, April.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. I mean, it feels like...
Yeah. It feels like a lot, but it feels fun, but it feels like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure.
I mean, strike while the iron's hot?
I guess, yeah. I wonder if they would be like oversaturating the market.
Mm-hmm.
But especially since like some Stranger Things has been like a solid year plus in between seasons.
We entered into Sabrina with this lofty goal. I think when Riverdale was such a huge hit, and I mean, we're now getting Katie Keene and stuff, so I think that they entered into production knowing where it's like Stranger Things was kind of an experiment.
Sure. Okay. No, that makes sense.
So if it's in their contracts and all that they're like going to fucking work, then I'm for it. I mean, they're young, so
true. Yeah.
I mean, I had some issues here and there, but as I mentioned several times in our last episode, as long as it's entertaining, I will tolerate a lot. And
yeah, and right now this show is like the literal height of entertainment.
It's so good. It's so good.
I mean, in addition to like the plot and stuff, I think all the actors are operating at a really high caliber, especially with each other. And I'm loving every minute of it.
I meant to say that it was like in the second episode of the season. I don't remember when he did it, but I was meant to comment on how hot Ambrose is when he throws down his like spells.
Yeah, Ambrose is hot all the time.
When he gets all... Well, yeah, sure, but you know how I like it when men yell.
I get it.
So... I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I actually look forward to watching it again. I'm going to watch it with my mom when she gets back from Maryland, so.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I think your mom will like it too.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm not going to tell her about Masquerade.
No, don't. Let it be a surprise. Yeah, all right. Well, that's it for us for Sabrina coverage this season. We hope you guys enjoyed the show too. Let us know what you think about it on Twitter or wherever. And then, as always, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingThisShow. We are also on Facebook and Tumblr, So I'm Watching This Show. We have a website that links out to everything, soimwatching.com, including the Spotify playlist. Are you going to put anything on there?
Masquerade.
The real one, or are you going to try to find the one from the show?
Whichever one. If I can find the one from the show, I'll use it. I was going to say play us out with it, so.
Yeah, definitely play us out with Masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
And then, other than that, just please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen.
Mm-hmm.
Bye!
Masquerade! I don't know why I started so high. I can't go that high. Paper faces up around. It's painted faces. I always say paper faces. I don't know.
Flash of gold, splash of goose, fool and king, cool and goose, green and black, queen and priest, stretch the foolish face of peace. Faces! Take your turn, take a ride on the merry-go-round, a million human race. Eye of blue, true as false, who is him? Curl of lips, swirl of gown, ace of hearts, face and crown. Faces, drink it in, drink it up, till you drown in the light and the sound of looking in the face. Masquerade!